This is 5 contract targets for the Penrith Panthers for 2027 ahead of that November 1 deadline. I'm Phoenix Trinidad. This is Darren Parkin. Darren, probably one of the safest squads in the Penrith Panthers.
Yeah, so the run came to an end in terms of premierships, but it doesn't mean that the era's over. I mean, you look at, say, the Melbourne Storm, who have been strong for 20 years. I mean, falling out for 1 year doesn't mean the end of it, and an incredibly admirable season. Bottom of the table halfway through the year. Then they stormed up, nearly finished top 4, won consecutive away finals in New Zealand, and then against the Bulldogs, and then played another away final in Brisbane, led by 14 at halftime, and just got rolled late. There's no reason why they can't put themselves firmly in the mix to win another title or two over the next few years. And in the past, we've seen a lot of players picked off the edges of their squad, but they actually look pretty settled for 2027. So probably going to avoid that, and it's just a case of building some areas they want to keep themselves strong.
Yep, this will be an interesting one. But before we get into it, just remember this video is brought to you by ZeroTackle.com. Not only is it Australia's #1 independent NRL news source, it also has games. So test your footy knowledge with NRL Streaker or NRL Name Scramble at ZeroTackle.com. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have plenty of NRL content coming out, including over the off-season. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get to 5 November 1 contract targets for the Panthers. Alrighty, Darren. So, as our good friend Lee Addison said, Penrith were a bee's appendage away from another grand final berth. They are one of the safest squads in the NRL. So what are they looking for in terms of contracts? It seems like it's mostly depth.
Yeah, and a little bit perhaps in forwards and the ability to score. I mean, if ever there was a minor weakness, not so much that, but if you track their 5 to 6 years, they've defensively stayed solid as a rock, but their scoring prowess has probably fluctuated and roller coasted a little bit there. So, if we're splitting hairs, that's probably one area that they'd like to be able to maybe do more damage with momentum against particularly some of the stronger sides.
Yeah, so in terms of their off-contract players at the end of 2026, you have your Scott Sorensen, your Tolaus, but your best 17 for 2027 is pretty much there. Like, that's a pretty well put together best 17 in 2027. So let's take a look at some options for them to sign. The first one is going to come in Morgan Smithies from the Raiders.
Yeah, and it's always interesting when you line them up with one of your rivals. So the Raiders are a contender for the next little while, and if you can obviously pick players off those sides, then you not only strengthen yourself, but you can damage some of the other contenders. And the Raiders have got a couple of interesting decisions to make. So obviously Smithies doesn't have a deal beyond 2026. Lindsay Smith, who we've mentioned in a couple of others, is another one that they're going to try to hang on to. He's been excellent since coming across from England. They would likely expand his role at Canberra with the Josh Papali'i retirement and the Tapani decision as well. So they'll be keen to lock him up, but at the same time, Penrith will see him as someone that they could potentially swoop in and take.
Yep. So another Englishman, probably somebody that's struggled a little bit, John Bateman from the Cowboys. What could he bring to Penrith?
Yeah, struggled a bit at the Tigers and the Cowboys where he is now. But he has been proven at the level prior to that. And then it probably comes down to whether Penrith back in their system, which I'm sure they will do. They'll probably get him a little bit cheaper than they would have a couple of years ago, but they might feel that we can get the very best out of him through Ivan Cleary. We can tap back into what he did at the start of his career and potentially, be a bit of a bargain pickup for them through that role.
Yep. And option number 3, Marata Niukore from the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, similar. We look at, say, Bateman, who can change a game, with his exciting skills. You look at perhaps Niukore as being a little bit more of the Penrith type of player. Someone who's rock solid, sturdy, no nonsense, tough, can play well in big games as well, and suits exactly the type of system that Ivan Cleary has built.
Yep, absolutely. Number 4 from the Cowboys. He's popped up on a couple of these videos. So Tom Chester, backline option.
Yeah, that won't be their absolute highest priority, but they'll still look to strengthen through that area as well. He can put pressure on some of the guys that are holding spots at the moment. there's already some guys that are struggling to get games in that lineup, but he could really put some pressure on some of the senior established figures they have. He's had a lot of injuries over the journey as well. He's generally a fullback by trade, but has been a pretty solid centre option as well at Townsville with the Cowboys. And yeah, he could break his way into their side and really add to their depth and create competitiveness for spots.
Yep. And another one, option number 5, another one from the Raiders to pick off a competitor is Ata Mariota, who has, he's shown up in a lot of these lists. He seems like a good forward that could slot into a lot of places.
Yeah, played 66 games, 23 years of age, still got a little bit of time. Probably a similar theme with a lot of these players, hard-hitting, tough, fairly consistent, suits Penrith a lot. Coming into that lineup as well. Another Raiders prospect that they'd be keen to try to hang on to. You can see all of these guys having expanded roles at Canberra if they stay, but they might be a little bit uncertain as to what that looks like, which makes them gettable with some of these other clubs.
Yep, absolutely. Alrighty, thank you, Darren. That is our 5 contract targets for the Panthers. Let us know in the comments what you think and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. We'll catch you on the next one.